Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Liberal Arts. A 35-year-old guy named Jesse who works at a New York school's college admissions department, and he goes back to his alma mater in Ohio for one of his favorite teachers' retirement dinners, and there he meets a 19-year-old college student played by Elizabeth Olsen called Zibby, and he falls in love with her and actually goes back to Ohio to see her and starts like this love relationship between the two despite their 16-year-old age difference. The only real thing I know about Josh Radnor is from the show How I Met Your Mother. That's pretty much, I think, how most people know him. Not exactly like the character of Ted on that show, but he's semi like that character in that he's very wide-eyed and earnest and romantic in kind of that way that, you know, nicer indie movies like the Brothers McMullen used to be. The indie movies where there's not the sex and the shooting and all the things that your mom doesn't like. This is like the independent movie that, you know, they'll talk about on NPR during the daytime. He kind of goes into this with this young college girl and like the way he experiences things like art, and there's this whole thing where she makes him a mixtape of classical music and he listens to it, how they talk about art and books. It's kind of the lame way you'd hear, like a cliched way you'd hear a college student talk about it, but I think when you accept that, you can accept this film. And a lot of the dialogue exchanges are kind of very Noah Baumbach-esque, and the way they talk about their feelings, and we'll talk about, you know, how important books are, and some of it is a little too goofy for its own good. Particularly there's this whole segment where he finds out that she likes a book that's probably Twilight. They don't mention it, they just mention it's a book with vampires in it, but you know it's Twilight. He decides he's gonna read it, he's gonna read the whole thing, and that whole segment was just a little goofy and I don't know if it really needed to be in there. The times when you have these people just discussing emotions and getting older so much, you can have those themes in a movie without doing it so directly. It gets kind of a little annoying sometimes. It's not, you know, Seventh Heaven annoying. Alright, you know, I'd like you to just show me that in the performance rather than have you guys talk it out. But it was pretty funny. There was this one sequence where he's writing down his age and her age and the age difference, and then like, when I will be this age, she will be this age, and he's like, oh, I don't know, that's too much. But then he wrote like, when I will be 80, she will be like 71. Could have been from a silent film or something. But I really liked that. I thought that was a cute scene, and he's good at doing these little scenes. Josh Radnor, he's good at doing his own kind of shtick, his earnestness, his wide-eyedness. He's just very good at kind of knowing what he's good at as an actor and kind of what he's presenting, much like a writer-director like Woody Allen. I think he's very good at being a writer-director star, using his own personality throughout the film. Zac Efron has a small part. He's not really in it that much. I think he's in a total of 3 scenes. Some of the parts I liked it. Some of the parts was like kind of that goofy character in an indie movie, which I always find annoying. Every time his scenes end, it would let him like do a little goofy thing at the end, and I was like, God, just cut. This movie maybe needed to be cut down a little. To me, it felt a little too much like a rough cut. This was like one cut away from being like a really tighter movie. Josh Radnor, I basically know him as a sitcom actor, and this kind of proved to me that he could really go on to do other kind of romantic comedies, and I think he actually has kind of a future in it. You know, lighthearted comedy, not one that's really gross out, but one that, you know, your mom would like, and you can drink a nice glass of wine and maybe talk about, you know, how that was nice. It didn't challenge you too much, but he's very good at directing that kind of thing. There was a shot with him and Richard Jenkins where they're talking in this bar, and I was like, wow, that looks really nice. I mean, it was like kind of better shot than you'd expect. And there's this whole table scene with Elizabeth Olsen and Josh Radnor and Richard Jenkins and Elizabeth Olsen's parents, and it kind of goes around like kind of a Reservoir Dogs thing. It's not just like simply a paint by numbers romantic comedy type of thing. It's a little better than that. I don't like love it. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's a little too rough, frankly. It's just trying to be this lighthearted, little nice kind of romantic comedy set with this age difference and this guy kind of revisiting his past university. And in that, I think it's kind of a mild success in itself, but it's a pretty good mild success. So if you have seen Liberal Arts and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.